The following program is made possible by the friends and partners of GodQuest Ministries.
Everybody wants to know about dinosaurs. What is the truth about dinosaurs? Well, that's what we're talking about today on the Creation Today show from Pensacola, Florida. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Hovind, and I'm joined by the incredibly smart and talented Paul Taylor.
And I thought that was a reference to dinosaurs then. Although you grew up around dinosaurs, didn't you?
I did.
Well, we're going to be talking about dinosaurs. It's always good fun to talk about dinosaurs. We're going to be looking at what the Bible says about them. And your other host here is going to be answering loads of questions on dinosaurs to show his knowledge of them.
Oh, really? This ought to be interesting. Remember, we believe the Bible is literally true and scientifically accurate. You can get loads more information at creationtoday.org. Today's show is focusing on dinosaurs, those cute little guys you just want to cuddle up with every once in a while and give them a little kiss on the head.
Well, we love dinosaurs, and I know that we've mentioned dinosaurs on this show before, but we really can't talk about dinosaurs enough, can we?
No, I mean, so many people have questions about these things because they're going, okay, there's so much, let's start by saying there's a lot of misinformation out there about dinosaurs.
There is a huge amount of misinformation about dinosaurs, things that people don't understand, and in order to make sure that you do understand about dinosaurs and to show you that Mr. Hovind here knows a great deal about dinosaurs, I think we're going to put him on the spot again. In something we tried a few weeks ago, a little segment that we call Rapid Response.
You didn't tell me you were going to do it this time, though.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to give you 2 minutes to answer questions rapidly.
Am I allowed to have access to the internet?
They didn't have internet in the days of the dinosaurs.
All right, so no.
Was that an evolutionary comment? It might have been that. I might have to go and wash my mouth out later. But you're going to have 2 minutes in which to answer as many questions or respond to statements about dinosaurs, as many as you can. And that time begins now. When were dinosaurs created?
On day 6 of creation is when most of them were created that are called dinosaurs. Some that we would kind of consider dinosaurs, like the plesiosaurus, would be more like a water creature. That would have been day 5 of creation.
But surely, haven't dinosaurs been carbon dated to be millions of years old?
No, carbon dating's a flawed theory. Dinosaurs actually have always lived with man. If we go to our ultimate authority, they have found footprints of dinosaurs and man together. They have found bones of dinosaurs with man together. I don't think we can say that dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. No.
But surely, as a Christian and a creationist, we shouldn't be telling people about dinosaurs because they never really existed. They were monsters, weren't they? And the devil put their bones into the fossil record.
No, they were definitely real. We do actually dig up their bones, these T-Rex teeth. You actually do find these. They're real. They weren't put here to fool us. It's interesting. These facts actually line up perfectly with what God's Word already teaches us about how God made the world. So no, Satan didn't put them here to fool us. They fit perfectly with God's Word and what the Bible teaches us about dinosaurs.
Well, why doesn't the Bible mention dinosaurs then?
The word dinosaur is a brand new word invented in 1841. Before they were ever called dinosaurs, they used to be called dragons, and there are thousands of legends of people killing dragons. And there's been, in recent history, in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been tons and tons of books written on dragons and how dragons have always lived with man. Matter of fact, Animal Planet did a series recently on dragons and dinosaurs, and they said, in their promotion for it, they said, we're not convinced the idea of dragons is just a myth. We think they were real creatures.
Is there a Hebrew word that should be translated as dinosaur then?
The word tannin in the Hebrew is used in Job chapter 40. It's translated behemoth, but in the original it's tannin, and we believe that is the word for dinosaur or dragon or that type of creature.
Have you ever seen a dinosaur?
Well, no, I have never seen a dinosaur.
So we don't know whether they... Well, that's 2 minutes. That was well timed because I just got to the last of my questions. A huge amount of information on dinosaurs because we love dinosaurs.
We love
to talk about them. And, when we give our talks, we like to talk about dinosaurs, not just to groups of children, though obviously it's always great to talk about dinosaurs to children because they love them.
Yes.
But
and they're getting indoctrinated big time.
But, we talk about dinosaurs to adults too, because adults want to learn about dinosaurs too.
I am still amazed at how many people, if you're watching this and you're familiar with our ministry Creation Today, I'm telling you, you have friends. Yes, you do. Just thought I'd let you know. You have friends that do not know the truth about where dinosaurs fit into the Bible, about how they fit into history. Some of you have questions yourself about where all these fit in. So we actually got some questions about that, didn't we?
We did. We've had some amazing questions. Here's one. Stephen writes. He says, "This is not so much of a question, but I wanted to share this with you." He says, "I found a website that lists some bizarre facts, and in one of those facts, so-called facts, it says an asteroid wiped out every single dinosaur in the world, but not a single species of toad or salamander was affected. No one knows why, nor why the crocodiles and tortoises survived." And he went on to say, "After having done my own research over the years and having read and watched programs like Dr. Hovind, Eric Hovind and Paul Taylor, it just blew my mind, even though the website isn't a scientific journal, that people could be blind to the flood. Salamanders, crocodiles, alligators and tortoises swim, and toads could survive as tadpoles. Thought it was an idea worth sharing."
No kidding. How could these monstrous creatures like dinosaurs be wiped out by an asteroid, but yet the more, would you call them frail creatures?
Yeah.
I mean, frogs, butterflies.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that one of the things that they like to criticize us as creationists for is that we believe that there was a worldwide global catastrophe at some point in the past.
Yes, we do.
For which, of course, we do have documentary evidence. But what they're saying is that they believe there was a worldwide global catastrophe at some point in the past. A great big asteroid hitting the Earth, sending up all this stuff. And what does it do? Kills all these huge dinosaurs,
And that's it.
but not the butterflies, the tadpoles, and he's pointed out, he's talked about frogs and toads here, and of course, I mentioned butterflies. Those are the creatures that are most sensitive to any environmental change. Any environmental change, pollution or anything that happens anywhere in the world, what do? They go and count how many butterflies and how many frogs there are there, because they are the most sensitive creatures to environmental change. I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
So here you have these things that are incredibly sensitive surviving this major catastrophe, but the dinosaurs couldn't quite make it.
No, it's amazing. The ones that they believe are the most successful evolved creatures that ever lived, having lived on the Earth, they say, for millions and millions of years. Yet they all suddenly dropped over dead.
It doesn't fit with their own theory, with their own understanding, does it?
And all the butterflies, they just fluttered by. And they
went
were
right on through the volcanic ash and everything. No problem.
Absolutely amazing.
Here's another one. Pandy writes in, "I'm a school bus driver, and I recently was talking to one of my students about dinosaurs still being alive today. He is thinking of doing a science project on the subject for next year. Is there any way you can come up with a DVD of nothing but eyewitness accounts of people seeing them? Show them pictures as well if you got any of that. I think it'd be a good resource for students if there's proof of live dinos today."
Well, I think the honest answer there is I don't think we know of any particular DVDs that show things, though there are DVDs of people who've said that they've seen them, and these could be accurate or maybe not, but certainly in a sense it almost doesn't matter whether they are or not, because there are certainly highly accurate accounts, aren't there, from the near past.
Yeah, now when you say no DVDs, you're talking about no confirmed video footage of this is absolutely a dinosaur on film.
I haven't seen film of a dinosaur, but just supposing we did have. I mean, let's say that they went to somewhere where they thought there was a live dinosaur.
In Africa, in the Congo of Africa.
It could be, and I mean, we'll probably talk about that one after the next break. But supposing they did, and let's suppose they went there, they caught one of these things, they brought it back by ship, they put it in the zoo here in this area, in Gulf Breeze Zoo just down the road, and so people could go in and look at it. Would people go in and then say, the theory of evolution's wrong, I've been blind all these years? Do you think that's the reaction they would have?
No. No, they would not. Hey, after the break, remind them about John Mackay and what he did with the, what's the plant that he grows down there now?
Oh, yes, the Wollemi pine.
The Wollemi pine.
I think he called it.
Wollemi, but he talks funny.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that right after the break, because that is an exact same category as dinosaurs would be. We'll talk about that after this. Thanks for tuning in to the Creation Today show, where we bring you Christian apologetics to defend your faith using the Word of God. We count it a privilege to partner with the Category 5 TV network. They provide the platform, bandwidth, and infrastructure needed to bring you this show. Please prayerfully consider how you can support them in their endeavor to offer quality, family-friendly broadcasting to viewers like you all around the world. Visit ct45.tv to help. And thanks so much for your continued support. That address again is ct45.tv.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching the Creation Today show with Eric Hovind and the old dinosaur Paul Taylor. And you were just seeing there a close-up of a dinosaur tooth. I don't know how much the Tooth Fairy gives for those.
Whoa, those you should get a bundle for, let me tell you. Because I know to buy them costs a bundle. So
we were just mentioning before the break about something that our good friend John Mackay had said. Yep. Difficult to understand everything he says because he talks funny. He comes in and he says, "Good day, mate." Yeah. And but he was telling us something about the Wollemi pine. The Wollemi pine.
I love that because, back up, you said that if we found a dinosaur today,
yes,
would people deny evolution because of that?
Yeah.
No, they would not. John Mackay actually grows Wollemi pines down there in Australia.
Yes.
And what's interesting about it is these Wollemi pines used to be thought to be extinct for millions of years. They lived back with the dinosaurs, they went extinct, and they do not exist today. Until they discovered they actually do still exist today, and he now grows them down there in his, what does he call that?
He calls it the Living Fossil.
Yes.
The Living Fossil, is it museum? The Living Fossil Museum. You know, we do know that we do have some people who watch the podcast from Australia. If you do that, I know Australia's a big place, but try and make your way up to Queensland, the large state in the northeast of the country, to Brisbane, and in fact John Mackay Centre is about 40 minutes outside Brisbane from what I understand. Go to creationresearch.net, go and see his Living Fossil Museum. Incredible,
because here you have an example of exactly what people are talking about. If we found a dinosaur alive today, if we found Mr. Rex here, my little bobblehead, alive today, would people deny evolution?
And the Wollemi pine was found in the Wollemi National Park in Australia, outside a different part of Australia, outside Sydney, the Wollemi National Park. And the person who discovered it, who was an evolutionist, said this is just like finding a real live dinosaur, because it is.
Wow.
And so if people found the dinosaur, you know, if there is a dinosaur, say, in the Congo, there are stories about that, Michaela Mwembe. If someone found that, captured it and brought it back, it would not prove in the minds of evolutionists that their theory was wrong, because they have a presupposition. Their presuppositional belief is that they do not want to believe in the God of the Bible.
And that's the ultimate problem. And we point that out time and time again on this show. You mentioned the Congo of Africa. A friend of ours, William Gibbons, co-authored a book with my dad, and then more recently was given all of the research done by an evolutionary scientist, Dr. Roy Mackle, on his research over there in the Congo. And he reports all the latest information about Mokele Mbembe in his book, Mokele Mbembe, Monster Beast of the Congo Basin. And he says, look, every year, you know, they're going over there, typically every year or every other year. Discovery Channel did a series with them over there. He says, look, the natives over there know about this animal. It's not as big as it used to be. It's only 20 to 25 feet long, but they're talking about an Apatosaurus. A long neck, long-tailed animal, and Apatosaurus is over there.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know here whether that creature actually exists or not. It might not, you know, and it's very, very interesting to find out about it. And by the way, if there is anywhere in the world where there is likely to be a supposedly extinct creature which is not actually extinct, then, you know, the upper reaches of the Congo River is one such place.
That would make sense.
Both naturally, it's a difficult place to get to. It's, you know, to get upriver, and we know that politically that's an area that's been for more than for 30 years or so. There's been civil war going on there. It's been very difficult for anyone else to get into the area. If we're going to prove that there are no dinosaurs in the world, that they are definitely extinct, you'd have to know every single spot on the planet.
Yeah, so you can't say that. You know, Vance Nelson, a friend of ours that just did this, the Dragon book, Dragons, Legends, the Lore and Dinosaur, he just got back from the Amazon, where he's looking at some paintings, and he said, look, I'm doing some tests on them. Within a few months, he'll know, are these legitimate pigments from long ago? So he's doing tests on that now. We hope to report on that in the near future. But he says, look, there are paintings over here that on camera, the evolutionist that was taking us on tour would not discuss them. Off camera, he said, yeah, these are real. These are, you know, paintings of dinosaurs right here that are hundreds of years old. How would they have known about these creatures?
Well, they must have seen them, you know, and it's interesting that sort of evolutionary historians looking at such cave paintings, if they see a painting of a lion, they have no problem. Say, you know, you find a picture of a lion in a cave in France, well, they'd say, well, there must have been lions in this part of the world. There are no lions in France today, but there must have been lions in that part of the world. They must have seen them to paint them. And then you get a painting of something that looks like a dinosaur. Oh.
Yeah, they made that up.
Yeah, and you know, there are such drawings in many places and documentary evidence today. I don't know whether there's dinosaurs around today, but I certainly am perfectly happy to think that there were dinosaurs in Britain within 150 years. You know, there's a book written by a lady called Marie Trevelyan, writing in 1903 about Penllyn Castle in South Wales, placed near where I used to live. I know the castle very well. I've walked in the woods around there. And she wrote in 1903 about talking to some of the old timers in that area at that time, and talked about the fact that there were winged serpents flying through the forests there.
Wow.
And that those winged serpents, the tales are not like fanciful dragon tales. These are not mythologies. They're down-to-earth statements, because the farmers shot these creatures because they were stealing the chickens, just like the foxes were.
Wow.
And the descriptions sound very much like pterodactyls, except that they were a lot smaller. Only about 3 or 4 feet long. And that fits with other things we know, where there are animals alive today where the creatures in the fossil record are much bigger.
That's right, yeah. It's fascinating. Okay, let's list off a couple more, because, you know, this one lady writes in, Pandy writes and says, hey, are there a list anywhere? And I think there are some great resources you can get for that.
Vance Nelson's book you've mentioned, you must get hold of that one.
The new one from Master Books on dragons is really good. Your new talk and your Taylor talks, you do a talk on dinosaurs and list out a lot of information about them. But let's hit a couple more. Oh yeah, and Derek Isaac. I love what Derek Isaac has done. We need to get him on the show, by the way.
Yes.
Derek Isaac has done a great book, Dragons or Dinosaurs, where he discusses that. Okay, what are some other stories of dragons or dinosaurs that have lived with man?
Well, of course, I was brought up on a TV program called Thunderbirds, which, you know, you're far too young to remember that. But,
no clue about Thunderbirds.
The old folks will remember that. It's an American program. You know, there were the 5 Thunderbirds that went round the world rescuing people. But why were they called Thunderbirds? Because that's a Native American term of a legend that they have, which Derek Isaacs mentions in his book, that the Native Americans knew about this large flying creature, which they called the Thunderbird. And the description of it is what?
It's of a pterodactyl. Legend has it that they saw a hunting party, saw a bird get struck by lightning. They traveled a couple days to check it out, and it was a Thunderbird. So Henry Ford used the eagle as his logo for the Thunderbird. Nope, he got it wrong. Actually, they depict a pterodactyl in what the Indian legends tell about it.
And Derek mentions something in his book about a Native American actually drawing a picture of one of these things, and it clearly looks like a pterodactyl.
There's more.
There's more, so please stay tuned, and we're going to be talking a lot more about dinosaurs in the near past.
Creation Today is introducing a new audio resource, the Holy Bible on double speed. Because it is difficult to find the time for lengthy reading sessions, we sometimes miss the big picture produced by reading an entire book of the Bible or a large section without interruption. The first disc of this 3-disc set presents Alexander Scorby's wonderful reading of the Bible at the original recorded speed. The second disc is digitally enhanced to 1.5 times faster than the original speed. The third disc is literally double the speed of the original audio recordings. With this new resource, we invite you to fly through the Bible to gain an amazing new view of God's Word.
Welcome back. You're watching the Creation Today show with Eric Hovind and the smart, incredible guest, Paul Taylor. Flattery gets you nowhere. I know Proverbs tells me that. But we're talking about dinosaurs and the truth about them. There are actually lots and lots of stories of dinosaurs, or what used to be called dragons, is another word for it, listed throughout you called it the near past.
Yes, and that's why I have no problem in supposing that there could be real sightings of dinosaurs today. We don't have sort of absolutely cast iron proof. Some people think they do, but it would not surprise me if one of these things came about. And there was certainly documentary evidence of dinosaurs around Britain.
Hit some of those. That's where you're from.
Let's
just
quickly list some of those. If you had a look at the Creation Ministries International website, for example, you'd find an article by Philip Bell about one of his namesakes, Bishop Bell, who is buried in Carlisle Cathedral in the north of England, and around his tomb are all sorts of animals. Interesting, because some of the animals on the tomb are things that are extinct in Britain today, like bears and wolves that we know must have been alive at the time that Bishop Bell was alive, but also an amazing looking creature which seems to look very much like an Apatosaurus. Other examples in Suffolk, there's a town called Wormingford. Worm is an Old English word for dragon. So again, we've got plenty of places named with the word worm in it. In Derbyshire, there's a village called Grindleford. Now that's interesting because the Grindle is mentioned in the Anglo-Saxon saga Beowulf, and the creationist writer Bill Cooper reckons that Grindle in Beowulf is not a troll as shown in the animated film about Beowulf, but actually must have been a Tyrannosaurus Rex, because Beowulf killed a young example of this Grindle, and he did it by managing to get so close to the animal that it couldn't bite him with its teeth, and he killed it by ripping its arm out of its socket.
Yeah.
So it does sound a little bit like a T-Rex.
Sounds like Mr. Bobblehead here.
Well, Grindleford in Derbyshire is a place where there was supposed to be a troll under the bridge at the ford over the river.
You've just listed several. These are actually in a book called The Untold Secrets of Planet Earth, Dire Dragons by Vance Nelson, a friend of ours up in Canada. You know how you spell Canada, right? C-A-N-A-D-A. Yeah, I got that from a Canadian. Man, he goes through one after another, found in England, found in Wales, where you lived in Wales, right?
Yes.
The St. David Cathedral sauropod right there, carved in. I mean, this is 14th century.
Yes,
my goodness,
that's
this is amazing.
St. David's Cathedral. There was one I mentioned on my Taylor Talks, which was a flying serpent that flew over the battlefield of the Battle of St. Fagans, one of the last battles in the English Civil War, picking out dead bodies from the battlefield.
You know, it's interesting because there are reports from Kenya over in Africa of a bird called Kangamato. And here's what they say. They say the bird's favorite thing to eat, they describe it as a pterodactyl type creature. They say its favorite thing to eat is dead, rotting human flesh. If you're going to bury somebody, you got to bury him at least 6 feet deep over there, because otherwise this bird will dig them up. Fascinating.
I mean, there are other pictures, like he's got a picture of the Angkor Wat, which I think both of us have used in our talks. There's a creature carved in the stonework of the Angkor Wat, which is an ancient temple in Cambodia.
Oh, yes, yes.
And the creature looks very much like a Stegosaurus.
It does. Matter of fact, we'll put a picture in here. We've actually have a replica of that image at our museum here in Pensacola. So if you want to come to the Mini Creation Museum here in Pensacola, you can check that out.
Now, one of the good friends of our ministry is Dr. Dennis Swift, and you went on a trip with Dennis, didn't you, to Peru?
You know, we've known him for a while. He's crazy. If you ever get to know Dennis, you'll find out right away. The guy's nuts, and we love
in
you
the
for
nicest
that.
possible way.
That's right. God bless his heart. See, in the South, as long as you say God bless his heart, you can say whatever you want. But Dennis is a character and a half, and he wrote this book, Secrets of the Ica Stones and the Nazca Lines, and he wrote it because there is so much confusion about some of the artifacts that are discovered down there in Peru, and he's an expert on pre-Incan artifacts. So he took a tour of 19 of us. I got a picture here to show you. We went over there, and we actually looked at some of these Ica stones.
Yep.
So now, again, there's a controversy around this. Some people will claim, no, the farmers are carving those right now just to make money off of people.
You know, it doesn't actually matter too much to me if they were, because presumably if it was the farmers carving them, they must have had an original idea that they're basing it on.
Where did this come from to begin with? That's a very good point. Now, more research, I will say this, more research needs to be done, but I was blown away because we actually went, take a look at this picture, we actually went to the museum, the Cabrera Museum, that houses thousands of these stones, and they have all kinds of things carved on them, but a lot of them have dinosaurs on them and some incredible pictures here. This is the largest collection in the world right there at the Cabrera Museum. Here in America, we have the largest collection of them in the United States at the Creation Museum in Pensacola, Florida, the mini Creation Museum. Don't get confused with the big one up in Tennessee. Anyway, with our small museum here, we actually have the largest collection in North America. Yep. So you can come and see these stones, see the carvings on them. We have one that will let you even touch and hold it and things like that. But it is incredible. So I go down to Peru for 12 days with my brother-in-law, Paul. He and I go down there. We go all over the place looking at the ancient artifacts. We went into museums that had masks, that had these burial masks that had long-necked dragons on them, carved on them. We went to fly over the Nazca lines. We got to actually fly over the Nazca lines. That was really cool. I got dreadfully sick on that flight because the pilot's like, first we lean to the right, and then the left, and then the right. And oh my goodness, we got sick, man. The lady next to me, God bless her heart, she lost it, and I'm sitting there trying not to lose it, helping her. Anyway, we flew over. One of the lines looked like a stegosaurus. Yeah. It made, I mean, take a look at it. That's what it looked like, is a stegosaurus. So have dinosaurs been seen in modern history? Yes. In recent history, they certainly have. Did they live millions of years ago, like evolutionists say? Absolutely not. No way.
There's so many accounts of people having seen these things. And it's very interesting, you know, that you mentioned about the word dinosaur being invented in 1841. You know, our main English translation of the Bible being the King James Version, 1611. So the word dinosaur was too new.
Correct.
That's why the Bible doesn't have the word email in as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't invented yet.
So, but the word dragon is probably what was used instead. And it's interesting that in a couple of scientific articles before 1841, about the various fossils that were beginning to be being found in the early 19th century, they had to use the word dragon.
Dragon, because the word dinosaur wasn't available yet.
That's right, which is incredible. Awesome. You know, if you go to creationstore.org, you can find some of these items, fossil, casts of fossil, replicas of fossil, footprints, that sort of thing. You can find the various products that we've mentioned, Vance Nelson's book, Dennis Swift's book, Derek Isaac's book,
William Gibbons' book.
You can find all those on the creationstore.org. So make sure you have a look at that.
We've also got tons of free resources available at creationtoday.org. So if you go to creationtoday.org, make sure and check out some of the articles, some of the blogs, and some of the pictures about dinosaurs, including some of the dinosaurs in recent time. Well, that is our show for today. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, we believe the Bible is literally true and scientifically accurate in every single detail, and we want you to be able to defend that. God bless.
Do you need the tools to defend your faith? Visit our websites for up-to-date content. Attend one of our live events. And shop online at creationstore.org. We are Creation Today.